This is Brandon Hamer. I'm out here at Owner's Acres in our intercrop in Block 3. And one of the things we wanted to talk about this week is as this crop has pushed along pretty hard here the last couple weeks, we're in that maturity stage. We still have a few days, about a week, 10 days before a lot of this stuff hits black layer. What's kind of been a concern here the past week or two driving around is we see a lot of fields starting to change. That could be for a couple reasons. Obviously, we know the dryland crops have kind of run out of gas here without a late season rain. A lot of those are starting to turn. But probably a bigger concern we have is there's some of these fields that maybe because of insect or disease pressure look like they're shutting down a little early on us. So the one thing we can do, we can't go back in time and unrepair that damage. But one thing we can do is make a good harvest plan. So I encourage everybody here over the next couple weeks, even starting today, is to drive around, kind of assess your fields, look for those that maybe have matured a little bit prematurely. Go out, do some evaluation, make sure you don't have any stock issues. But scheduling a harvest, being ready to go maybe a little bit early. We're seeing some ears start to drop on some plants. Also hearing some reports of maybe seeing a few ears slip. And so obviously, if you have a field where you have some ears slip in the shanks or anything like that, we need to be prepared to pick those early, get those out, and even if we've got to pay for some drying or whatnot, we got to attack those fields. The second one would be, where we see some stock disease issues or anything like that. So one of the things I've done here is just to pull out some stocks, just real quick. If you're unprepared like me and don't have your shovel today, you can cut stalks off at the base. Normally I carry a spade so I can kind of dig roots, but just splitting these stalks open. One of the things we look at the bottom here is, when I cut this stalk off, you can see we actually have no signs of any disease, nice white pith. This stalk is still very alive and healthy. When we go to split them and pull them open, then we start looking at some of these nodes here and trying to see if there's any discoloration. Again, this is a very healthy stock. Not seeing any issues here that are cause for alarm, but going out, cutting 3 or 4 stalks out of a field, splitting them real quick is one way to help determine harvest. Also, I noticed, like in this field here, going back on our intercrop, we did have some lodging from our earlier wind. We actually have a 28% green snap on this field. Some of the plants that lodged, and I've noticed over the last couple days, some of those plants with the weight of the ear and so forth are still going down. So if you have root lodging, anything early that you suffered some damage, be aware of those fields. We definitely don't want to leave this crop out here forever. So that's kind of what we're looking at this week. Obviously soybeans are turning, especially the earlier varieties. So again, just keeping an eye on what's going on out in the field, making a good plan, and having the combine ready to go. In closing, we'd like to certainly invite you next week. We have Owner's Acres tours scheduled out here. We'd like you to come see our super tall milo here. We're not sure exactly why it's so tall. We're open for suggestions. We have some exciting stuff out here. We have some intercropping. We have some cover crop trials. We have some soybean early planting trials. If you remember, we planted on April 10th. So those soybeans are really looking good. So we encourage everybody to contact your local location. Come out here. We'd be happy to show you and talk some more agronomics with you here coming up next week.